The only thing that I feel is that whatever conditioning I come with, I have constantly reminded myself that my elders, my neighbors, whoever was around me telling me these things only knew that much. Their intention was not wrong, but that can't be my reality and that can't be my narrative. Because Nimrat is
Yeah.
born with limitless potential and she's there to realize what she dreams for herself and not what someone else does.
Welcome to a new season of Questions I Wanted to Ask. This season, we focus a lot more on the inner self, on things, activities, and thoughts people have to be able to gain that inner strength and find that voice.
Thank you so much, Nimrat, for giving us time. And I'm really excited to have you.
My
Also,
pleasure.
I think to discuss about something which is personally very, very close to me. I want to understand as an actor, as an individual, during your lifetime, you go through different stages of physical fitness. What has now finally come to when it comes to, this entire thing of loving your body in whatever form, shape? What does it mean to you now?
That's a very good question, actually, because see, it's a two-part thing. One is me, the person, one is me, the actor. What I need to do for my work is a very different relationship with the body altogether, because then I look at my body as place of work where I function out of as a character, as something that I am using to tell a story. I will be wearing things I don't wear in my day-to-day life. I will be speaking in manners and saying things that I don't say in my usual life. And that relationship with the body and the mind is very, very different. That's where Nimrat, the person, switches off and has no take on what Nimrat, the actor, is doing. I mean, it could be two things. Either you're very happy about something you're wearing, or you don't like what you're wearing because you don't want to see yourself like that. So you have to detach yourself completely. At least I have to do it as Nimrat, because I'll be doing a disservice to the person I'm playing. And the story that, has taken so much hard work to put together, that's where vanity comes in, or a discomfort of looking a certain way comes in. So I try to detach myself completely from that. Nimrat as a person is a very different journey because, I am born a certain way. I have a certain body type. I'm a certain height. I'm a certain gait. I'm a certain shape, a nationality. I come from a certain part of the country where women look a certain way. So as a young girl growing up, I of course had, all kinds of, ideas of how a body should look like and how I should look like and what image of me should look like in a photograph and all of that, which happens to all of us as we are growing up. Yeah, now more so with social media and things which we didn't have when I was in college and things. There was no Instagram or nothing, none of this. But growing up and growing older, I have only come more and more and more to terms with what God has given me and how I need to appreciate everything that I have and do the best that I can, because I'll have only the one body all of my life. I need to not do a disservice to it by abusing it or by not giving it the kind of exercise it should get, the rest it should get, the nutrition it should get. Because this is also my office, my factory, my workplace, everything. So it's a twofold thing for me. And it's very important for me to be grateful for what God has given me and to not complain and to not try to be something else, because that is a bottomless pit. And that is something that I would never be anything that I want to be and that I'm not.
Very interesting. So I'm going to take a cue from your answer. So from a common man's perspective, बोलते हैं कि actors के लिए, because their body is their workplace, their body allows them to go into different roles, etc. But common man के लिए, how does someone who has got nothing to do with films or camera, etc., right, learn to not abuse or learn to love? हम लोग सब बोलते हैं love your body, but sometimes you're not born with a certain structure. Sometimes your genetics don't allow you to be that perfectly shaped body. Some part of your body is not perfect, etc. I'm a common person, right? How do I end up loving my body?
Anshu, the conversation has to begin with what is perfection. What is perfection? Actually, it's all subjective. What is perfect to me might be very unattractive to you. What is perfect to you might be imperfect to someone else. The context is always changing. What happens is that there is a narrative we are all fed from the time that we grow up. It's conditioning. And it's a narrative that becomes a reality because it's fed to us so many times, whether it's complexion, whether it's the shape of a certain part of our body or not, or the lack of it. And somewhere, because we are fed this in our software, we have started to believe that if we don't have this, we are not good enough. Until we have this, we will not be happy. Until I look a certain way, until I fit into a certain dress size or a certain kind of a blouse I want to wear with a sari, or, there are all kinds of concepts that are fed to us as a final truth, And even if you ask the person you consider physically perfect, you and I consider, I don't mean you, I mean a person, like we all have an idea of perfection in our mind.
Yeah.
Even that person will have some issues or the other. I have never met a human being in my life who doesn't have a problem with the way they look or some part of what can be better.
So you were saying that even actors have body image issues?
I'm saying that everybody is a human being. And everybody wants to be something they're not, because that is the basic inherent nature of a human being. We're always trying to be somewhere we are not, someone we are not, be with someone we can't be with. It's a bottomless pit. It doesn't end. Let's say I achieve my certain body type, which is perfect to me. I am perfect right now. Do you know it will give me sleepless nights? How do I hold on to that idea of perfection? How long is it going to last? Age will happen. I will look different 10 years later. How long will that perfection last anyway? Chalo, give and take 10 years, 15 years, then what? Then what will I look at? How will I change that conversation? What will I tell myself that will make me feel happy? We have to understand that this is subjective and it's something that will always keep coming at us. I have never met a human being who's perfectly happy through a lifetime with the way they look. So I think that this is something that all of us need to tell ourselves constantly, that do the best you can to your ability, stay fit, stay healthy. That is a conversation we need to have. How do I better my mental health? How do I better my physical health? What is it that I can do to enhance and nourish the state that my body is in? Because this is the only one body you have, and you're not going to get another. You're not going to have a second chance at the body. Sure. This is what you're born with. Whatever you do is what will come out. What you feed it is going to, is what it's going to look like. We all know where we can be better about that. And I think that is something we need to work on.
And we just keep trying every day.
I think so. I don't see a choice. I think it's an everyday conversation with ourselves, with people around us, to own what we have, to feel good in what God has given us. Ask someone who has one arm less and one leg less. Ask someone that question, that what is perfection to you? They'll tell you to have both legs and both arms. I'm really just putting it out there, that we take things for granted because we are born with everything that, should be as it is: 10 fingers, 10 toes, 2 limbs, 2 legs, 2 hands, 2 legs. There are people in the world who don't have a basic human body because, they were not born that way. What is perfection to them? Perfection to them is being able to live normally.
Yeah. Nimrat, just one last question. I think we've spoken about this entire, and it's nice to hear not just an actor's perspective, but your individual perspective on taking care of yourself. We were just talking about conditioning and narratives. Some of us have understood कि ये narratives हैं जो हम बचपन से सुनते आ रहे हैं, हम exposed हैं content में, etc. But India में I think वो narratives बहुत ज़्यादा हैं. What is your advice for anyone who's grown up with that narrative but wants to get away with it and wants to start embracing themselves? What is that advice? What do you want to tell them? What are your learnings?
जी, मैं एक चीज कहूंगी कि आपको जो भी बचपन से बताया गया है ना, all of us, we've been told certain things. We watched the elders in our family. Everybody comes from their bag of experiences and their exposure. You have to at some point detach yourself and be an observer of the people who have influenced your thought processes in life, and you'll be able to identify them. आपको exactly पता होगा कि आपने कहाँ पे क्या किसी से क्या अच्छा सीखा और क्या किसी से सीखा जो आपको लिमिट करता है आपके पोटेंशियल को. आप ये हमेशा याद रखिए कि everybody comes with a good intention, more or less. Nobody comes into our life trying to destroy us. All our mothers, our fathers, grandparents, उनकी intentions गलत नहीं है. हमारे neighbors, and I'm going with the general idea that there are no evil intentions out there, but that's a very different, separate matter. Now, keeping that in mind, you have to recognize that as an adult, what you choose for yourself is what will decide your life, and not what people in your childhood chose for you.
Yes.
क्योंकि एक टाइम तक हमारे डिसीजंस हम नहीं ले रहे होते हैं ना, हमारे पेरेंट्स ले रहे होते हैं, हमारे ग्रैंड पेरेंट्स, हमारे रिलेटिव्स, अब जॉइंट फैमिली सेटअप्स में है। आपका धीरे धीरे जैसे आपकी दुनिया बड़ी होती जाती है, स्कूल, कॉलेज, यूनिवर्सिटी, कोई अब्रॉड चला गया, किसी मल्टीनेशनल में काम कर रहे हैं, कोई दूसरे शहर चले गए, आप अपने आप को कैसे, किस नजरिए से देखते हैं, आप अपने एक्सपीरियंसेस को मोर एंड मोर मेक दैट वॉइस लाउडर, मोर एंड मोर रिलाई ऑन योर ओन एक्सपीरियंसेस, योर ओन इंस्टिंक्ट, develop your own intelligence about what is right for you and what's not right for you, and then commit to that. क्योंकि अपने आप से जब तक हम commit नहीं करेंगे, I don't think we'll ever grow as human beings. I've realized that any time that I've failed in life, it's only been because I did not live up to a commitment that I made to myself in any department. It can be a small promise. If I broke that promise, it made me weaker. That's the only time. And make those voices louder and louder and louder, and understand that people around us only know that much. They don't know you and your mind and your life and your heart and how you function. Only you know that. So
Yes.
the only thing that I feel is that whatever conditioning I come with, I have constantly reminded myself that my elders, my neighbors, whoever was around me telling me these things only knew that much. Their intention was not wrong, but that can't be my reality and that can't be my narrative. Because Nimrat is born with limitless potential and she's there to realize what she dreams for herself and not what someone else does.
Fantastic. I think this is like a, jo bolte na ki this is a self-affirmation that we all need to do ourselves, that we're all born with limitless potential and beautiful hearts and bodies. And then everything else is going to be taken care of.
I believe that 2000%.
This was such a beautiful conversation. Thank you so much, Nimrat.
Thank you very much.
Enjoyed this.
Thank you. So did I. Thank you for being so astute with your questions and the observations you made. Very, very lovely. Thank you.
Thank you for listening to this episode. If you found it interesting, please don't forget to share it with more people whom you think can benefit from it. And don't forget to, drop a review or, drop a comment. I'm always waiting to read comments and feedback from all of you. Bye.